Okay, everybody, we're going to get started. And I know people will be logging on, but I don't like to keep people waiting that have been on the line. So thank you, everybody, for joining us. I have the honor of having Mary Mitchell on our call today. She's an amazing woman who I will tell you guys about in a second. Just want to let you know we're going to be talking a little bit about the beach today, the coast in general, buying in this market, the pros, the cons, the hot spots, and things like that. As you probably know, rents have just gone up tremendously over the last 10, 12 years. And they don't really seem to uh, be looking to go down much. I know you'll see like a lot of apartment complexes and things like that being built. This is a very interesting statistic that I actually checked out. I wanted to confirm it this morning before I put it in our PowerPoint. But the average renter, the median renter's average net worth is $6,000. The average homeowner's net worth is 40 times that. 40 times that, friends. You know, real estate is where you just make money. You buy real estate and you wait. You don't do the opposite. You don't wait and buy real estate. You buy real estate and wait. People look at the equity that people have. The average homeowner right now has a net worth of 254,000 versus the average renter has a net worth of $6,000. So if we can find ways to help people buy homes, like your friends and even your kids, because you can co-sign for them, like instead of putting them into a place then paying for it when they go to college, it's a good idea to consider buying a place. You get to have the write-off of a rental property and they get to learn about home ownership. When you're buying real estate as an investor, a lot of people think the only way that you make money is by what you pay for it versus what you sell it for. And yes, appreciation is very important, but there's a lot of things, ways that you can make money in real estate. For example, you could buy a property for 300, you could invest 50,000, and that 50,000 could be making the property worth 100,000 more. So some people do that. They buy property and they add value to it, and then of course they either flip it or they hold on to it. And if you hold on to it, you know, you don't have to hit a home run. You will hit a home run if you hold on to real estate long enough. And then, of course, you have a fixed rate mortgage, right? You don't see many interest only loans in the last 10 years. And every single month when you're paying down a little bit of principal. And so you're having a tenant live in this property. They're covering most of your mortgage payment. And every single month, you're able to get tax benefits because that's one of the few things you can get tax benefits on now because our standard deduction is so high. And you're paying down principal every month. So there's a lot of reasons to buy real estate. I don't think cash flow is really one of them right now. I think in a few years you'll have a chance to refinance to a lower rate, but I don't think that's going to be a primary reason to buy real estate right now. We will talk to Mary a little bit about this. And again, I feel so honored to have Mary Mitchell on the call. She's like a trendsetter. She was one of the first women colonels in the Air Force. Like, when were you in the Air Force, Mary? What year did you go in?
69, came
Like,
out in 90.
can you guys believe that in 69? Like, she went into the Air Force. Like, they didn't, you know, there wasn't like a lot of women in the Air Force then. And she's an amazing woman. She's been in real estate for so many years. She's going to tell you a little bit about the coastal properties now. She's also done feasibility studies for many large builders across the country, like making recommendations to them on where to buy, where are good areas. And so, you know, I feel very fortunate to have her on the call. And Mary, I'm going to sort of let you, if you don't mind, sort of take over this. I know you're talking about supply, Holden Beach, you know, Brunswick County in general. So I'm going to just let you, if you don't mind, just sort of take over.
Okay, thank you for having me. Um, this is Holden Beach. It's God's best kept secret. Unfortunately, everyone's finding out about it, but it's a quiet beach. We don't have any commercial. It is single family residence only. We have 3 condominium buildings that only have one has 12 units, another one has 24 units, and the other one has 8 units. The rest of them are single family homes and a duplex or two thrown in there. Um, it is the fastest growing county in our state. We get hundreds and hundreds of people here every day. The rental market is so sewn up. That's the only way to say it. You can't find a rental property if you want one. So if you buy a property here and you're looking for long-term rental, you can get good, solid renters, especially those who are building a house, or or they're still looking. People look for 2 or 3 years before they decide where they're going to live. So, but this market has all different kinds of things for us uh, in real estate. If you're on the beach, this morning I just pulled just to check, but we only have 11 properties available on Holden Beach for sale.
Wow.
That's 11.
That's
Ocean
crazy.
fronts, it's terrible. We have no inventory at all. And if you get back in the county, there's, you know, everything is getting sold. A perfect example, our sales in Brunswick County are very diversified because we don't have anything, in the tens of millions of dollars, but we do have $5 million properties and that on the beach. But you get off the beach, get into the golf course communities, you're averaging 400 to 800. You get out of the golf course communities and get in communities, and you're averaging 250 to 450. And all of those different little communities are just booming. I mean, it's hard to keep anything on the market long. Uh, but people are picky right now because interest rates has changed us. And I think that when you're building and looking for investment, if you're going to move here, let's invest your money here. Let's not leave it somewhere else. It's too hard to take care of. I have a rental property in the mountains, and every day I ask God why I keep it. So right now I'm, talking to the realtor about selling it because it's just too far to take care of. Here it's different. If you're living here, let's invest your money here so you can drive by and look at it or show your friends anyway. But the on the beach itself, you have vacation rental income. You spend $1.5 million for a house, and you're looking at 150 million, or $150,000 a year in rental income. And that's where I go with generational wealth, because that property is still going to be there when your kids are still here, and your rents are just going up, 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 up from what it was. And Holden Beach rents less than some of these other places, but we're voted the number 1 family beach everywhere by the
And it's sort of like in the middle here, according to the map that you shot over. Like,
correct.
yeah.
Mhm.
So that's
We're the
really
third
interesting.
beach up. To explain the beaches and why I like Holden better for me personally, and my family's had a house here since the 50s, so I'm kind of prejudiced. But if you look at Sunset Beach, that's the first beach past Myrtle Beach. It's a very quiet beach, but your oceanfront houses are about 1,100 feet from the actual ocean. So you're having to walk 1,100 feet across the sand and the dunes to get to the actual oceanfront. Next beach is Ocean Isle Beach, and it's too crowded. The houses are too close together. There are too many. Uh, and a perfect example, in 2008, when the world went to the dogs, on Holden Beach, we had 4 foreclosures versus Ocean Isle Beach, which probably had 50% of their houses go in foreclosure.
Wow.
It is not. Holden Beach is, there's more cash money here. There's more uh, solid rentals. Ocean Isle Beach is a Johnny Come Luckily, and Holden Beach, you have the same people come to your house for 20 years, same week every year over and over again. So And then you get out, if you're looking at the map as we're looking at it, Holden Beach, you look over here at the Lockwood Folly River. That's actually where I live. From my house to the beach is 7 minutes. And I live on the river. I in a gated community that has a golf course and tennis and clubhouse and all that. And it's wonderful. I love it. You couldn't get me out of here. But it's very quiet, and you don't have all that rush that you have in Myrtle Beach, and you don't have the rush of even Wilmington. But if you need a major hospital, you're 45 minutes from either one of them. So
Nice. And this is what you were saying, like, so the median sales price in Holden Beach, you said, is in the mid 700s?
off the beach, correct.
Off the beach. Got it.
Yeah.
Off the beach.
The lowest priced home on Holden Beach right now is on the actual island is 1.2 million on, not even on the ocean front.
All right. Right.
Yeah.
So here's where you had put in like the population, it's growing quite a
Yes.
bit. And yeah, you already talked a little bit about that. So here's all the pros that you mentioned.
Right.
Okay. It's only 3 hours from RTP, 45
Yes.
minutes from Myrtle Beach. Of course, the storms are scary for some people.
You get used to them, you
You
know.
get used to them.
It's just like you're planning something and you call them and say, oops, I can't plan for that because I'm going to have a storm hitting the beach. Let's do it 3 hours later. So it's not that.
When the storm doesn't hopefully hit. Right.
Right. We did that last week, remember?
Right. Lee. Right.
Yeah, we had a Zoom meeting and we couldn't do it because I was in the meeting. This is a oceanfront that I have for sale. It was pending. It's back on the market now. It won't last long. This is a perfect example of something you can buy on the oceanfront, spend $200,000, and I'll turn around and list it for 1.8. It
So
is
this is one of those value added properties if somebody was pretty wealthy and had some extra cash.
right, absolutely. And finance it. I mean, you could finance the 1.3 and put
Yeah.
most of it, because your rental income on this house is going to run you $140,000 a year.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I love
Yeah,
it.
it's a
I
cute
love,
little house.
yeah, I really love it.
But there's things it needs, to make it to that 1.8. It needs a lot. I mean, but you're with 200,000, you can make it absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's already nice, but if you look at the picture, the adjoining picture over here, if you look down there's an orange looking house on the right with a pool behind it. He
Yeah,
did $175,000 last year in rental income.
nice. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. It's a great, and you're right on the beach. It's great. So
And then supply is sort of inland
it's
from
inland.
Holden.
Supply is actually at 17 and 211, but supply is everything except the ocean fronts. It encompasses all of them. I live in the little area over there that I showed you where Lockwood Folly was, and my address is Supply. But we're if you get past 17 and go north of 17, unfortunately, that is all swamp out there. A
Huh.
lot of swamp, a lot of farmland, big farms out there, big farms, and that's still there. But the rest of Supply, it's nice. And Charlotte's a nice little town. You've got everything you need. We've got a hospital within 10 minutes of us. It's great.
And
Uh,
how far is Southport from Supply?
by car or by boat?
Say by car.
By car, it's 45 minutes,
Okay, and by boat?
5 minutes.
Yeah,
Wow.
we do a lot of boat travel on the intercoastal.
Yeah, I can get him. I have a dock behind my house and my boat. If I have to go to Oak Island for something or to Southport, it's easier to jump in a boat and go over there.
That's really cool.
It is cool. I like it.
I like
And
that.
and it's just a little ways over there. You're just on the intercoastal. There's a lot of traffic on 211. So
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of traffic in general.
Yeah, you have to get off, Chris knows we're over here in Varnum Town and Lockwood Folly, and you just know there's certain days you don't go out. You just stay home. Like
Certain
Saturday,
times.
check in, check out day, you stay home, So
So that's pretty interesting about the river and the trade routes and things
yes.
like that.
Used to be used as pirates. All the pirates used to come up in here. Yeah. Like there's they say that Blackbeard lost a treasure up here someplace, but who knows?
Who
But they
knows?
used it also during the Civil War to hide. There was 2 or 3 encampments here where they actually hid supplies. So
Huh. Is that why they call it supply?
no, they just maybe. I don't know. That's a good question. I never
Yeah.
asked that
I'm
question.
always like, what did they come up with that name? So,
I don't There's nothing at Supply but a post office.
and
That's it.
there's a mini golf place.
Yeah, but it's not really in Supply. It's out in that circle out there, way out there. It's like there's a golf place. I guess it's on 17. Yeah, I guess you could call that Supply. They just opened that, so.
So you mentioned on our call the other day that there are a lot of retirees that come to the beach. Is that true of
Yes.
supply as well?
Oh yes, we're covered up with you know with retirees. Lots of them, and we have what I call the snowbirds. They've gone to Florida. They want to get out of the cold weather, and they've gone to Florida, and now they have endured 2 or 3 years in Florida, and it never changes. It's always the same weather. So we have those that come up here
Mm-hmm.
from there because they want the 4 seasons. We have a very short winter. January, don't look for me here. I'm in Florida. It's too cold for me. I don't like it. But people like the cold, and this house right here is right across that you've just pulled up.
Mm-hmm.
It's 50. That house is right across the street from me. It's smaller than my home, and it doesn't have access to the water. It does have nice marsh water view. It's absolutely beautiful. This house was custom built by a builder for himself, and now they've decided they don't want to live here. They're going back to Henderson, North Carolina, so it's for sale,
Mm-hmm.
and it's absolutely beautiful. I
Yeah, it
mean,
looks
I really
beautiful.
like it. So come and buy it. I need a neighbor, so, and we're on a cul-de-sac. We're on a cul-de-sac, and our cul-de-sac is very close, so, but this house, oh, Greenbrier Avenue, ooh, yeah, this is a modular home on Greenbrier. And that, you know, it's nice. That's a nice area. I personally wouldn't buy over there because it's in the middle of a trailer park.
Um, just so everybody on the call knows, there is a big difference between um, mobile homes
Right.
and modular homes. Okay. There's
Exactly.
no problem financing modular homes.
Modulars. Right.
We can actually use stick built comparable sales.
Right.
If you're buying a manufactured house, you typically cannot finance these if you're buying them as an investment property. You have to
Right.
pay a lot of cash, not a lot of cash, you have to pay cash for them.
You have to pay
Uh,
cash more.
but modular homes they can be financed really easily. I mean,
Right.
as long as the comps are there, just so you guys are aware. That's a good price point. It looks like really nice inside.
Oh, it's pretty new. That's a pretty new house. And it's it's already under contract. So it already went under
Nice.
contract. And see,
Well,
that's
it's the
that
price
that
point.
price point that we talked about,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna look at my notes. So if I'm not looking at you, I'm sorry, but I'm old. Like there's 1,533 properties for sale in all of Brunswick County right now, but 640 of them are under contract. Out of those 1,533, 632 of them are between 250 and $400,000, and there is 331 of them under contract. So, and then you go on through like the millions. You have, I guess the best one to look at would be 600 to a million. There's 293 active and 190 under contract. So that is those price points in there are very important
Yeah. Yeah.
for
Yeah.
for everyone to understand, but you got to understand that they sell fast. But it's not like, oh, we're going to have a multiple offer situation. That we try to avoid that down here, because you've got people in New York buying, or Florida or Georgia or Ohio, and when you get in a multi-offer situation, people get really frustrated. So the best thing to do is price the house to sell and sell it,
Mhm.
and not worry about multi offers and trying to get list it less than it is, and trying to get multi offers and people to go crazy, because sometimes then your appraisal's not going to match.
Right. Mary, I hope I don't take you off guard, but I
No.
don't think I think I wanted to ask you a little bit about the generational wealth thing. Like,
Oh
we
yeah.
could you just elaborate a little bit on that? How real estate can be used to create wealth, like we were talking about before, like a homeowner has 40 times the net worth as a renter. Could you just talk
Right.
about it for a minute or so?
Sure. Uh, I push generational wealth with real estate. My husband was an attorney. All right, he worked for himself, and when we got married, he had no retirement. So I built his retirement. I built him retirement with rental properties that we bought, fixed, rehab, and then sold and carried the mortgage. Now that mortgage is generational wealth, because that is a payment for 30 years. Now they're going to pay you off. Of course, you're going to buy something else, or you just put it and leave it in the rental market for those 20 to 30 years, whichever. And that along with the escalation in price, um, builds that generational wealth. You can start small. You don't have to start big. If you're in an area where, excuse me, my
Yeah.
husband just walked through. He just came home from playing golf. Uh, if you're in an area like, I'll give a perfect example, like around Raleigh, there's some very small towns outside in the communities, and you can really find some nice $100,000 homes that you could start this with. Go in, fix, sell, rent, whatever. Just make sure that you stay in the price point of that house. Don't go in and do glamour baths and all that stuff.
Mhm.
You just go in and do what the
Something, anything.
anything, paint, get rid of the wallpaper, get rid of that popcorn ceiling, little things that mean nothing to price wise, but they mean a lot to the actual value of the home. And there are some things that you need to change out. You need to, take out that Formica countertop and put in a piece of granite, but find it on sale at the granite store, and you
Mhm.
spend $2,000 or $3,000, and you've increased the value of your home by 10,000,
Right.
so that's what I consider generational wealth. And that stays with you. You either give that to your children, or gradually work them into that. You can only give them $11,000 a year, but I can give them a house, and I gift them that 11,000 every year toward my payment. You know,
Mhm.
they don't pay me the 11,000. I gift it to them, and they're getting all the rental off of it. And of course, then they have to take care of maintenance and pay taxes, and I'm happy, and insurance. But you give it to the kids, but you can't just hand them that. You have to teach them, and that's probably the most frustrating part, that you have to maintain a rental house. You have to do maintenance. You don't do any maintenance, it's going to cost you a lot of money in the long
But
run.
we have to teach our children to work also, because a lot
Oh,
of us were raised, where we were raised on farms and things like that. And, we don't have that. We don't have as many people doing that anymore. And so if you just give your kids or relatives everything, then they don't have a work ethic, and
right,
they can, like, that's why they say wealth skips generations, right?
right. You have to
So
teach them. Like, I have a grandson that I raised, and I bought his first house up in the mountains, and it's a little 1 bedroom, beautiful little cabin. It is now for sale if anybody wants it, but because he's moved to Charlotte, but it's it's he rented it for 2 years and found out the pros and cons about renting and figured out that it wasn't cheap if you didn't maintain it because he did not do what he was supposed to do. And now he knows, and it's like it's a hard lesson to learn that you're going to spend $7,000 to replace a floor, and that's coming off your top price of your house because you have to replace that floor. You have no choice. But he didn't totally neglect it. He did everything he was supposed to. He just didn't do it like I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
but now with the next house, he'll do better. When we sell this one, we're going to roll this one into something into Charlotte because he's got all that equity now that he's built in that house, and it's almost doubled in price.
I mean,
So
equity can be used like you could buy rental properties, and some people make plans of buying the rental properties, and then they choose to pay them off before their retirement income,
right.
before they were
Mhm.
so that way they have that income for retirement, or they
Right.
could sell one of the properties and if they don't want to have 10 rental properties anymore,
Right.
and that is income. So there's a lot of different ways. And then the tax benefits while you're earning, because we can't really write off things on our standard deduction. So now we know somebody wants to buy a property. They want to buy a rental property. They want to buy another rental property. Could you explain to them from the slide here what helps them, Mary, get their offer accepted?
Needs to be a strong offer. If it's listed properly, it would, just come in knowing that you're not going to steal anything. Nobody's going to let you steal anything anymore. I mean, too much HGTV, but it needs to be a clean offer. I mean, don't come in contingent on something else, blah, blah, blah. If you have something that you've sold, you're going to 1031. That shouldn't be a problem to these people because you should already be under contract before you ever go on contract with another house. In other words, it should be closed and the money sitting in the bank, because 1031 is the best gift from the government they ever gave us because we don't pay any profit if we roll it to another rental. And it's very important if you know of all this, you ahead of time you can tell your lender I need to close in 30 days because I'm in my window here.
Mm-hmm.
And some lenders are, I love working with y'all because you keep me in the loop. I know what you're doing. Some lenders, it's like talking to the wall, and you talk to 20 different people, and once it goes in the underwriting, you just go to the church and pray because they don't ever talk to you after that. So it's a
Oh,
true it's a true statement.
it really is. No, I have clients that fall through with other, online lenders a lot, and
Right.
it's challenging. It's heartbreaking when they lose money and stuff. So
It
few
is.
contingency, clean
Yes.
offer, decent price based on what the house is worth. That's
Right.
you have a buyer's agent, because the buyer's agent is going to help you figure that out.
Right.
And how do you feel about a pre-approval, Mary, versus a pre-qualification?
Either one is good enough. I'd rather have a pre-qualification, but I mean, it's hard
Pre-approval,
to
you
get
mean?
that. But I mean, I would rather have a pre-qualification actually, and because our pre-approval for the actual money based on them and not on a specific property
Right,
because
right,
that tells me what they can spend,
right, exactly.
and your next slide's perfect. It is a must. You must have it, or you must have proof of funds, that you're
Hmm.
going to buy. And I can't even show some houses without pre-approvals. I
Right,
mean, I have some, you know, houses that are multi-million dollars, and I can't show them without proof of funds or pre-approval or a letter from their banker that says that they can afford it.
right, that they can pay cash.
Yeah.
So when we pre-approve people, what we do is we actually do approve them, unlike a lot of people that
Right.
you fill out an application. We actually ask for your documentation, and this
Right.
sometimes gets people angry, like that we ask for documentation. They're like, well, the other person didn't ask me for all this documentation, and that's because we are actually approving you. We are submitting your loan to underwriting. We are not
Right.
just qualifying you. It takes an awful lot of work, and we don't charge you to do this. We actually examine your documents. Sometimes you don't have all the documents that you need, but we just approve you subject to you having the cash to close or paying off that debt or
Right.
something like that. And here in Raleigh area, RTP, you just simply can't, and in Asheville and Charlotte, a lot of these areas, you can't get your offer accepted without a real pre-approval. Like you said, like you said, or a letter from your bank saying you can pay cash for the property.
Exactly. Exactly.
Mary, can I ask your opinion? Because again, folks that are on this webinar, we are so lucky to have Mary with the level of experience that she has and everything she's done in her life. What do you think is going to happen in the next 12 to 24 months with prices of homes, Mary?
I think we're good. If the Fed doesn't go crazy and keep raising rates, we're gonna be all right. We're not in a housing crash because we don't have no doc loans anymore, so and we don't have people who are not as qualified as should be. That was one of the big problems in 2008. No one had any money in the game. If you don't have any skin in the game, they don't care if they walk away from it. The bank's
Right,
going to lose, not them. You
right.
know, I don't see the market softening because the generations that are retiring are more and more and more and bigger and bigger and bigger. And those people, they're not going to stay where they were. They're going to move. And a lot of people think, oh, no, they won't do that. Oh, yes, they will. They're not going to stay in the same house they've been in for 50 years. About 1% of the nation does that. And 85% of all retirees want to retire near the water.
That's interesting. That's
That's
really
that's
interesting. That's
they've just got to. It's time to be there. So, and I don't think that the money that's available today. There's so many cash buyers versus somebody having to buy, or they're borrowing only half of it. I mean, and then I work with retiring uh, Army personnel, Air Force, armed services, and they look at what their retirement is, and either one or both of them are both retiring. They want one person to be able to pay for that mortgage. And they don't care that they've sold something otherwhere else and they have the money. That tells them what they're going to spend, is
mm-hmm.
what they can afford mortgagely. So because they have mortgage. As to where me, I don't like that. So, but there's a lot of people who they live on debt and they have to, and most people can't afford to go buy a home and just live in it, and they're not willing to start with the ugliest house on the street and put all that sweat equity in it and trade it and sell it and trade it and sell it, trade it and sell it till you're someplace you'll live.
And I think the point is there's a lot of people, friends that are on the call with us today that can't afford to buy a house right now. And
Right.
there's a lot of people that are also scared about the market. And this is really where money is made, is during a
There's a
correction.
correction.
I don't want to
Absolutely.
say that we're really in a correction, but we sort of are. And so people are waiting for rates to come down. But when rates come down, you have a huge amount of pent up demand. And then these people are going to come out of the woodwork because rates are a point lower, because they're not going to go down to 2 or 3% anytime, probably in my lifetime again.
Yeah, I never expected it either. So
And so look at what's happened with recessions in the past. Okay, and I really don't think that we're going to be in this huge recession. Like, remember the Great Recession that
right.
happened in 2008, 2010. I don't think we're going to have. It's going to be a softer recession. But if you follow what has happened in recessions, these black columns here, or gray columns here, our show when the recessions are, and you can see that everything, home prices continued to rise during recessions. The only time this didn't happen was right here, and here's why. And this is what Mary was alluding to before, supply and demand. And this, her statistic falls right into this slide. There were 4 million homes on the market during that recession. And right now, there's only a million. There's only a million. And what Mary said about a lot of them being under contract right now, we have 40-45% under contract. There's very few active listings. And so it's a supply and demand thing. It's the stuff you learned in high school, supply and demand. That's what's happening. We just don't have the supply of shelter that we need for our demand. Okay. So when you're financing an investment property, I'm sure there's a few of you on the call that own your primary residence free and clear. And there's some of you that don't, but there's some of you that do. And this is a very cheap way for you to finance your rental properties. If we did a cash out refinance on your property, that would be a cheaper rate than a rental property rate, and it would be less closing costs. So, Chris and I have worked together. I'm a certified wealth coach in North Carolina, and I teach people about this because you're not marrying the interest rate right now. Hopefully you understand you're sort of dating the rate, right? You're marrying the price of the house, but you're not marrying the rate. You're just dating the rate, okay? And Mary, you know about this, and this probably doesn't apply so much to obviously beach properties, but a big obstacle to people buying their first home is the cash to close. And in all 100 counties in North Carolina, you can get $15,000 to buy a house. And I remember in 2008, 2009, when this came out, it was only available in 5 zip codes. This is all 100. And it's a great, great opportunity to help you on the road to home ownership.
We do quite a few of those.
Yeah.
We do quite a few of them. Chris is right.
There's a lot of them here in this county too, because you have the people who have to serve all these people who have all this money. So,
right.
Not everybody is in a position where they can buy a $300,000 house. That's why the last thing that I did, the last feasibility I told them you need to be 175 to 275 is where we need a development. Please, please, please build that for me. I don't need all the bells and whistles. I just need 3 bedrooms, 2 baths at that price. I don't need quartz countertops. Let's put a nice Corian grate in there. I mean, you just need to, that's what we need, because that's, even some retired people need that. But the first time homeowners, we don't have any here.
Right.
I mean, they end up with a mobile home, which is only going to decrease in value. And, it's ridiculous. It's sad because that's where they can borrow the money. They can go mobile home dealership.
You were mentioning a little bit earlier, Mary, about some of these outskirt areas. And, that's where people, now that we are sort of through, hopefully, the worst part of COVID, where people are not having to work as much from their offices, or they're doing hybrid things and so on. So you have people moving out to these outskirt areas, which is helping develop them.
It's making it more expensive, unfortunately, because a lot of those jobs, those online jobs, are what they call session jobs. Those pay very, very, very well. As to the man who services my car, that's the man who can't find anywhere to rent or own or anything. He's the one who gets hurt.
Yeah, and that's a shame.
And you have to have those people, the servers and the restaurants and the house cleaners and all those kind of people don't have anywhere. And that's why I scream at my developers all the time, please find me a tract of land and do this. It doesn't have to be near the beach. Get away from the beach. Why do you have to have $100,000 profit when you can have $50,000 profit in every home and be sold before we ever turn the first shovel of dirt?
Yeah. So, friends, I want to encourage you to reach out to Mary or us here at the office. You can reach Mary on her information's up on the screen, and we're going to send you a copy of the PowerPoint. She's just fantastic to work with, and she's just a forthright person. And Chris or I would love to help you get you pre-approved. And we want to thank you so much for being on the call today. And we hope that you can join us next week. We're having these webinars once a week. Mary, I hope it's okay with your permission. I'm going to keep this recording and put it on our website so that those, that didn't have access to it can come back and listen to it. And I'll send you a copy. Okay.
We do
Absolutely.
have one
Tell everybody
question.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Please go ahead. Tell us.
Herman wants to know how COVID is going to affect the bottom line of house values if it were to occur again.
I don't think it would affect it because we're pretty much in the point to where everyone knows to go get their vaccines. And COVID, if you are vaccinated, is not putting this down like it was, so.
And I think during the last time we had a pretty good sales history. There's a lot of buyers and not a lot of inventory then too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah.
It was a real boom. It was a real boom with COVID.
Because it was the only thing people could do because we were exempted.
Herman, if anything, it will make people buy more. It
was a
sounds
lot
like.
of bidding. It was a lot of bidding wars then.
Absolutely.
Mary, thank you so much. I
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate it. I love working with you. Everybody on the call, thank you so much for being here. Please reach out to Mary or us if you have any questions, and keep the faith, friends. Mary, thank you.
Thank you. Come to the beach.
Come to the beach. Come to the beach. Ciao.